Loss is change, and change is part of life. If you stay here long enough, you will grieve the loss of someone or something in your life. Hello, my name is Gladys Bell, and I'm a volunteer with the Motherless Daughters Ministry. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your day. Every week, you have a standing invitation to join us for a few minutes of conversation to support motherless daughters everywhere with information, encouragement, and our stories. If this message is helpful to you, we'd like to ask you to share it with other motherless daughters, give us a thumbs up, a review, and subscribe to our channel. Although it is acknowledged that there is no designated length for grief, there is an unwritten expectation that it will dissipate over time. Even among clinicians, intense grief that continues over 12 months may be diagnosed as what they consider complicated grief, persistent complex bereavement disorder, or prolonged grief disorder. Navigating loss, especially mother loss, is a life changing event and does not have a pattern. It is unique for every individual. Complicating this process are traumatic losses like the death of another significant person in your life, loss of a job, financial instability, or a measure of health. All of this happens while one tries to continue on the treadmill of life, juggling all of the day to day obligations, pressures, and stresses. Additional losses of significant persons in your life can become overwhelming before you have an opportunity to learn to manage life without that one person in your life. A subsequent loss comes along and multiplies the strain on your emotional as well as your physical and mental health. Each loss applies another layer of the many connected emotions and feelings, and thus is the continuation of the impact of loss, and it becomes a long term condition. A significant loss of any type is a major change. Mastering change requires significant effort to surmount. It necessitates being intentional about your responses and your reactions. When grieving, it can be more than a challenge to approach circumstances in a positive manner, create goals and strategies, or actively listen and maintain open communication with others. Those skills and many others are necessary to master change. And because grief can be exhausting, emotionally and physically, it is very possible that the energy to make significant efforts just may not be there. And here we have the paradox. On one hand, extra effort is needed to plan and implement strategies for navigating change. Then, on the other hand, the weight of grief exhausts you, depleting you of the needed energy and motivation to carry out any plans or maintain communication and contact with others. We can get stuck in that conflict, and it can become a long term phase of the grief journey. So, allow me to share some of the suggestions that have proven helpful in living with grief in the long term. Number one, take the time for basic self care. Try to get adequate rest, a good night's sleep, eat meals that will provide the nourishment that you need, and take time for some light activity, even a walk or two each day. Number two, get the support you need. Allow people to support you. It can be a grief support group, simply of a family member or friends. Supporters are those who are willing to allow you the space needed. to talk about your losses, your thoughts, your feelings, and concerns without judgment. For some, expressing these feelings can come in the form of writing or journaling. Number three, give yourself permission to grieve while taking care of your routine obligations. In the long term, we will need to pay bills, uh, take care of yourself and home, even though you may not feel like it. Maybe make space in your personal agenda to acknowledge the feelings associated with your grief in an environment that suits you. It may be a specific room, uh, it could be a certain time of day. The emotions may include sadness, anger, confusion, or frustration, but pushing them to the background will only make them grow stronger. Number four, avoid making any major decisions or changes in your life for a period of time. Give yourself all the time needed for you to grieve. It won't be what anyone else thinks is the appropriate time. Create specific ways to remember each loss and each individual that will give you an opportunity to honor their role in your life. This could be lighting a candle, visiting a specific place, eating certain foods, or simply reminiscing by looking at pictures. Recognize and celebrate the importance of those individuals or relationships in your life. The memories may be a mixed bag of joyful thoughts and sad tears, but make space for them in your life when they surface, and then get the routine things done. Number six, know that feelings will change over time, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that the people or relationships are no longer important or meaningful. There will be periods of enjoyment as well as periods of deep grief. Allow them to happen, then take care of the next task. The only way to process grief is to go through it. There are no detours. Number seven, and lastly, if you realize that you're not able to fulfill daily routine tasks or maintain communication with others, recognize when you need to seek additional help and process your grief. Be proactive and make arrangements to make it happen. It may be a support group, a clergy member, or a health professional. It's been just short of 20 years, and I still grieve the loss of my mother. It's amazing that the slightest thing may trigger a bout with grief and send me on a roller coaster that spirals down several layers, um, and trigger grief over other losses. It took a very long time to reach an initial ability to manage my grief on a daily basis, but progress was made. And then my daughter passed, and I encountered a significant setback. Anyone who has lost a child, regardless of the age, will tell you that this loss is different. It's more difficult. Um, it's been 4 years, and I'm not ashamed to say I have questions that may never be answered on this side of the grave. I'm still processing some of my feelings, and daily routines and responsibilities are being handled. There is participation in activities, events, and different tasks. I can't speak for anyone other than myself, and I've found God to be my keeper. I find comfort in reading the scriptures, and my faith and hope are in the promises that are found in the Word of God. Over time, I have found a measure of satisfaction and joy in supporting and encouraging others finding themselves on the grief journey. And because it is a journey and not a destination, I have the credibility to let them know that although we may never, quote, get over the loss, we learn how to manage it better each and every day if we allow ourselves the help. The Motherless Daughters Ministry is here to provide some of that help. And we want to remind you, short term or long term, we are here for you, and you are not alone.